Hi everyone. Hey, welcome to Eating Peace this week. I often talk about three general umbrella areas that really spark or drive the addictive type of process. I'm calling it addiction. We don't even really have to call it that, but some sort of compulsion towards, consuming in a way where it's actually painful in the end of the process, just like eating. Here we are talking about eating. Eating was the thing that drove the thing that I almost always picked. But I've also experienced smoking and heavy drinking just for a few years in my 20s. And that's sort of it with substances. But there's other activities. And, sometimes I would feel like as a young athlete, I absolutely must exercise and kind of over exercise. They talk about that now a lot as an addictive process, something that you feel like you absolutely have to do in order to feel okay. And that just comes in so many shapes and sizes. I've heard different teachers and guides and philosophers that I love talk about the thinking mind is what we're really addicted to, or that we feel compulsively like that we're going to follow. So really, thoughts. We're addicted to thinking. But let's not worry about that. What we all know about is the experience of being compelled to do something that isn't really in our own best interest. And I often speak about these three umbrella areas. When you feel empty, bored, malaise, and you kind of feel like that's the thing driving the compulsion, emptiness. Sometimes that gets much bigger than just boredom. A real sense of loss and emptiness and a deep sense of a darkness within. The second place is fear, great fear, being terrified, usually an after effect. I got scared about something, a confrontation, a conversation with people, or something that's happening in your life, and then after this feeling of rapid fire eating, then I would sort of feel like binge eating to kind of calm down anxiety. And then the third place is a feeling of powerlessness. Like I really have no control, no ability to stand up for myself or get my needs met. Helpless. I wanted to speak to that today. Just a sense of helplessness. When I was in college, I was in and out about 3 different times of the same school, basically trying to re-enroll, be there and function as a normal student, and then finding myself overwhelmed with, fear and anxiety. It would only come out in the binge, in eating, or in starving myself, which I did for a while in one of those little legs, one semester that I actually accomplished at college. And I finally left with unfinished bachelor's degree and spent some time doing more therapeutic things and finding some help for myself and then returning to school. It wasn't over yet, but that intense part of trying to go to a small, intense, high-level liberal arts college with a lot of smart people, that was over. And that was good for me. But I sometimes look back and think, it was really interesting the way I decided to end that process. I had this huge, gigantic binge. I'd been controlling myself, competitively running cross-country, living my own life very solo, kind of isolated, trying to do really, really well, very intensely perfectionistic, about classes and studying and reading. And then all of a sudden, it's just as if that broke apart. And I found myself, it had been months of not ever binging and not ever overeating. I would definitely say probably undereating. And I just all hell broke loose, as they say. And, I'm walking the streets and I almost can't remember the fog of it, gathering food, just getting as much as possible, putting in bags, coming back to my dorm room, going out and getting some more, and eating and eating and eating. Just eating so much. And binging and purging, which is just so difficult, making yourself throw up, so hard. And I thought I was going to control that forever and no longer do it. We all know what that's like. I'm never doing this again, without really understanding what the drive is in the first place, what the problem was. I felt so helpless. It was like I was a workaholic when it came to my classes and perfectionist. I wound up purchasing a ticket, one-way ticket, airplane ticket, back to my hometown, my city, Seattle, where I live now, and just dropping out. And sometimes I, at one point talked to my mom many years later about why I didn't go to like the community health center or the counseling clinic or things that were offered for students who were in crisis. Oh my God, it wouldn't have crossed my mind at the time. I was afraid to ask for help. I had a very solid mindset and a belief that somebody who asks for help over such a shameful thing, like I don't know, but I'm out of control with my eating, I thought it was actually just my eating. I didn't know that my feelings, I felt so traumatized by my own dictator inside my head that I just wanted some kind of relief. I wanted a break, and I wanted help with managing, a pretty intense schedule and trying to learn and trying to be perfect all the time. I would have liked to connect with others probably, and it turns out they had a support group on campus, which I never knew about. I would have liked to connect with people to find out that others are not also perfect, So it didn't even occur to me to ask for help. I felt purely helpless and unable to even ask for any help. So that sense of powerlessness and pure helplessness is like you're backed into a corner, like there's nothing you could do. You almost feel like you're going to die. You may as well crumple up in a little pile on the floor somewhere until somebody comes and finds you. I mean, it's a sense of not being able to care for yourself that is very, very debilitating, very difficult, and not uncommon in people who reach for the food, reach for the anything, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, There's nothing I can do except for this thing, this activity that I already know is not super good for me, is not really what I want, but it's my best choice. All the other options, I don't even think of. I don't even come up with them. What I find is when you stop doing an addictive behavior and you believe that you can get help, if you ask for it, you begin to learn about what's driving you, what the feelings are, you can drop the addictive behavior, the compulsive behavior becomes far less interesting. I mean, nobody really wants to do it. It just feels like the best option. So at that time, what I really wanted to do, if we had taken the actual horrible binge experience out, like all that controlling for months and months and running hard and keeping up with everything and being so perfect, and then having it all break down into one crazy binge session where I'm in my dorm room eating all by myself. If we had taken that really intense experience out of it, what I wanted before that even happened was to not be working so hard. I wanted a break. I wanted to know how to manage studying and being in college and also enjoy it and make some friends and be connected with people and not feel like I had to be perfect all the time. I wanted to be able to have an emotional breakdown and cry, have grief, access my genuine feelings about what I was doing and if I really wanted to be doing it. And maybe begin to take the classes that I wanted to take even more than the ones that I was taking at the time, that I didn't all find that interesting. So discovering, without the addiction, without that feeling of helplessness, you can discover what it is you really, really want. And all of a sudden, what I found as I began to learn how to ask for what I needed and ask for help without shame, thank God I learned that. What I found is far more possibilities. Like, okay, let's make a list here. What can you do? Let's explore. let's research what your options are. And I would come up with so many other things that now, of course, it's much more automatic. If I find myself in a bind, or I'm curious, or I have a question about something, or I need something, I don't know which direction to go, I can wait. I can ask for consultation. I have mentors in my life who are brilliant. I can set aside some time to do some writing. And it's just automatic now to ask for help. To not know is just fine. To not know and find myself needing something and not have an answer is perfect. And there's no need for a binge in the middle of that. There's no need to eat out of helplessness. It's like true control, not attempt to, like, I must control the environment so that it's all in order and I'm safe and I'm going to be intense and controlling about it. It's more like a relaxed sense of personal authority, sense of personal authority. So just wonder if you find that there's this in your life, different reasons that you're eating. Where do you feel helpless? Just don't even think about the eating part. Just begin to write. Where do I feel helpless in my life? Like I just have no choice but to do X. Make a list. Start to look at what you believe you have no power over and no control over, and that is really disappointing, upsetting, or frightening. Okay, because it might not be true. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.